So, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about the aftermath to that Sydney Sweeney American Eagle ad. And you have had some of the most fragile, pathetic, bitch-made people on the planet come out and record themselves putting on a humiliation ritual where their insecurities and their inferiorities are on full display for everyone to see. There are some real gems in this video that Asmongold pulls up. And so we're going to watch it. We're going to react to it. I'm going to give my own commentary. It's a reaction to a reaction. And I got to tell you, it is so embarrassing to watch people completely and totally chimp out in these videos because a beautiful woman is being featured in a commercial ad. The thing that used to be normal is now considered to be taboo. And these people have a problem with it because her grandma wore a Make 60 Great Again hat at her birthday party. So a grandma has a joke hat and this fucking freak has a problem with it. By the way, this guy, the first time I saw him, he looks like the character from Shark Tale. I mean, like, what the hell are we doing here where we're actually having a conversation about whether or not an American company, American Eagle, can use attractive women to sell jeans? This is genuinely the state of the conversation that we're having. This is so low IQ, it actually hurts me that I'm having to make this video. This should be the default, that beautiful, attractive women are used as the standard to make these sorts of commercials.
To the sun.
Yeah.
And nobody should ever be shooting her bail ever again. Never again. She's shown you who she is multiple times over now. Because, see, everybody seems to have forgotten about / swept under the rug the fact that at her mother's 60th birthday party, they had spin-off hats made of Make America Great Again hats.
Okay, so it wasn't her grandma, it was her mother. So her mother had a 60th birthday party, had Make 60 Great Again hats, a joke about Trump's Make America Great Again, and this guy is chimping out in a video. He's that outraged because a 60-year-old woman decided to have a special hat at a party. That may be one of the most pathetic things that I've seen, let's be honest, in probably the last 12 to 14 hours.
Hats that said, Make 60 Great Again. Not only...
This is the kind of retard that tweets about me. Bro, this that same kind of retard that makes tweets about me, bro. Like, yeah. Oh my god.
That her close family was at that party wearing Blue Lives Matter shirts.
Yeah.
Not only that, that party
So wait a minute. So she's wrong because her family members wore a shirt? And she made a joke about the obviously most popular campaign slogan in he's probably around my age, in our entire lifetime. They made a joke about that and somehow you're losing your mind?
thrown out of random.
It really is pathetic when you think about it in the way that Asman presented it. That this guy decided to record himself because he was so triggered by the fact that Sydney Sweeney had family that wore Make 60 Great Again hats and had Blue Lives Matter t-shirts. They didn't hurt anyone. They didn't shoot anyone. They didn't do anything wrong. But this guy has a genuine problem with Sydney Sweeney because her family decided to wear certain t-shirts and certain hats for things that they agree with. Unbelievable.
And that may seem like an insignificant detail compared to the other two, right?
Yeah, it is.
But you couple the aesthetic of the clothing that people were wearing with the fact they actively chose a ranch as a venue.
And also,
I don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen, they're not sending their best. A ranch. So, guys, you have to think about it in the whole picture. They had this big, big birthday celebration, and they picked a ranch. A ranch. I mean, maybe the mother is a fan of Yellowstone. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here, guy from Shark Tale? How are we having this conversation? American Eagle chose a woman who is stunningly, shockingly beautiful to try to sell jeans. It worked. Their stock price is up. What are we doing arguing about this minutia about your personal petty grievance about her family? First of all, nobody gives a shit about you. No one gives a shit about your worthless, pathetic opinion. This is your own inferiority complex, your own insecurities, and you're trying to put it out there on somebody else. Unreal that this is actually what we're doing still in 2025.
By the way, why do cops' lives not matter? I don't think there's a problem with saying Black Lives Matter or Blue Lives Matter.
Well, there's definitely a problem with saying Black Lives Matter. It's a scam organization. It's a complete and total fraud. Not to mention the fact that it did billions of dollars of damage, rioted, looted across the country for a summer. Black Lives Matter is a domestic terrorist organization at this point. And the fact that the black community didn't apologize or take any accountability for their absolutely animalistic and pathetic behavior. Why don't you look up David Dorn? By the way, that black retired police chief who was killed by some monkey, some animal. They decided to kill him over a TV at a pawn shop because they were rioting and looting and woo. This guy, this black police chief who was killed during a Black Lives Matter riot, by the way, and the irony of that is just incredible. This guy who was an absolute hero. This guy who was an absolute hero, a benefit to any community that he was a part of. Everyone who knew him said glowing things about him. The media never talked about him. No one ever mentioned this guy's name. No one ever mentioned Sequoia Turner, that little 8-year-old girl who was killed because these Black Lives Matter animals, and I'm going to continue to call them animals, tried to put up a roadblock and a mother tried to go around it and they shot into the car and killed that little 8-year-old girl, Sequoia Turner, during Black Lives Matter. No, I think there are many reasons to view Black Lives Matter and the ideology and the people behind it with hate and disdain because of the damage that they did to innocent people's lives. Good people. Good, decent people. And a little black girl who died. I mean, it's so insane to me that, people would still say there's nothing wrong with saying Black Lives Matter. There's everything wrong with saying that because the group was a bunch of fat women who scammed the entire country and the entire world out of billions of dollars. But more to the point, the ideology behind it led to some real suffering, mostly from black people who were just trying to do their job. The people who worked at the Target that got burnt down, the people living paycheck to paycheck, they're the ones that suffered. So I do have a big issue with Black Lives Matter. I think the black community owes itself a huge apology, and I think it owes the rest of the country an apology.
Yeah, I support both of them. Sorry. I guess this is going to be like a Ludwig perspective of mine. But yeah, I agree with both sides. I think that obviously police officers shouldn't treat minorities badly, and people obviously should care about police officers. Yeah, true. There's no problem with that.
Oh, it's kind of just blatantly saying racism to me. It's saying I'm a conservative piece of shit. That's what it's telling me. And people did the typical thing they do when a white person they like shows them that they are actually a conservative. They say, oh, well, that was just their family. You know what I'm saying? They can't control their family's views. Like, that doesn't say anything about their political tilt. You know what I'm saying? And then Sydney Sweeney came out with the statement, "Oh, you guys, I just wanted to share photos of my mother's birthday party, and you guys made it some insane political statement." No, motherfucker.
Yeah, no, yes, motherfucker. The thing is that these people lose all of their power once you stop giving a shit about them and start laughing at them.
I'm telling you that there's going to be a time in the next 10 years, and it's not going to be good for black people in America. And this is not something that I want. This is not something that I'm looking forward to. This is just going to be a reality. All of the bad will that they're building up with their absolutely indefensible crime stats that people aren't allowed to talk about, the violence in the streets, whether it's against, Asian people, but by the way, that Stop Asian Hate campaign, Asians were too terrified to say that the number one perpetrator of that violence, black people. This sort of karma is building up. And I'm afraid when it finally does burst, no amount of white guilt in the world, no amount of this privilege that has been built up is going to be able to insulate them from the concussion. I don't mean that like a literal concussion, like the way that they knock out grandmas and other people. I just saw a video today of a bunch of black people knocking out some poor older white guy, and then dragging him like in the middle of the road. And of course you got some black men and women standing around, recording them, like laughing. I'm telling you what, there's going to come a point where eventually it's going to rebound, and it's going to be terrible. It's not going to be good for America. I'm America first. This doesn't help America. This is bad for America. But it's going to come. And when it does, no one's going to be happy about it. No one is going to be pleased with the result. It's the Democrats' soft on crime policy. It's the continual victimization and the recording of these videos continuously to post them online. It's the refusal to address this topic openly. It's the black community's inability to be honest about all of these different issues and to hold people accountable. All of this stuff, by your powers combined, it's going to create this nuclear bomb, metaphorically, and no one is going to benefit from it. It's going to be disastrous. Asmongold has talked about, the rising of a new Hitler. And 20 years ago, when I was much younger, I thought there's no way that can't possibly happen. It can't possibly happen. Like, it couldn't. Now I can see it. Now I can see it because there is so much bullshit that has been pushed largely by the Democrats in these cities. But there's been such a breakdown of our society and our culture that we're at a point where I could see it. Where somebody comes along on a platform that makes Trump look like Bill Clinton.
That's what you have to do. You have to laugh at these people and look like that.
Yes, that was a real ad by...
Now, I'm not going to say... That's crazy, though, right? I mean, we are two... Sorry. No, it's three. It's 3 out of 4. I've been 75% right on this one. That's crazy. What are the odds on that? Honestly, I'm surprised it's not higher.
American Eagle
is worse than a tea leak. And I just want you guys to see that the majority of the time that the people that are losing their minds over this shit, it's just jealous, fat, ugly women. That's it. That's the whole thing. That's the entire problem. There's literally like, and I really mean this. There's not a greater social message. There's not anything. It's literally that simple. Brother, look at your chat. What are you crying about because they're making fun of her? Bro, you getting mad? You get mad? I don't give a fuck what people say. Like, unless it's against the rules. I want people to say whatever the fuck they want. I don't care. What do you think? I'm their dad? I don't give a fuck about that at all. Like, I'm gonna let y'all know. The only rules that I uphold are the ones that I feel like upholding, and the ones that I have to uphold. I do not give a fuck. If you want to type something bad in my chat, I will ban you because I have to.
Okay, we're gonna fast forward a little bit to get past this. Yeah, I think he was almost done, but somebody was complaining in the chat. Oh, somebody was making fun of that guy. Well, yeah, he looks like the guy from Fishtail. His eyes are too far apart.
Because there's a lot of nuance to this as to why they should be upset. But at the end of the day,
I love how all these people are all thinking about it's because it's that she's white. It's because of her boobs.
Well, Asmund, that's because you're thinking about this logically. What you have to understand is that the people that are talking about this, all of them, whether it's the white chick or whether it's this fat black chick or whether it's the guy that looks like Will Smith from Shark Tale, they're all speaking about this from their own insecurities and inferiorities. What they feel inferior about, they will tell you. And that will be through the form of, I think this is wrong. I think this is bad. They'll tell you what they really believe by focusing on it, and then everything else is going to be bullshit. So they're going to try to couch it in some sort of, well, this is racist. No, it's simply because this woman looks at this European white woman, beautiful, big tits, thin, gorgeous, and she is jealous and envious that she's fat, that I wouldn't say that she's hideously ugly, but she's pretty unattractive. Okay? Can we say that she's like a 3 or 4 out of 10? All right? Sydney Sweeney is like a 10. All right? So there's a big disparity here. There's a big gap. And speaking of big gaps, this lady is very, very insecure and feels very inferior about that. And she wants to then try to use anything she can, any manipulation to try to make up that difference, to try to shame people into saying, oh, Sydney Sweeney isn't a 10, she's more like an 8. And you are not a 3, you're more like a 6. They want to try to guilt you and manipulate you into changing their scores because you're afraid of being honest. Well, I'm not afraid of being honest. I will be direct and forthright, brutally so, because I think that it is the only real way to show love and that you care and that you're honest.
Like, this is very, very common that people will say that a girl has good genetics if she has big boobs, because they are primarily genetic.
It's not just her boobs. It's the symmetry of her face. It's her blue eyes, blonde hair. It's her hips. Sydney Sweeney has got some nice hips. Some nice childbearing hips. And she's got some nice tits. Good for feeding the kid. Her kids are not ever going to go hungry. The fact is that she is the total package when it comes to appearance. She is the peak of what human beings, human males, find attractive. And this woman is chimping out because she's outraged at the reality of that and doesn't want to accept it and thinks that she can change reality by asking to speak to the manager and complaining. That's the truth.
It's something that you either spawn in with or not. It has nothing to do with her being white in the first place. Like, it's crazy.
This is not surprising. This is who they have always been.
And a nice looking face,
if you've
yeah,
been
true.
following my page for
This is who they have always been. Now, again, I'm telling you, it's the inferiority complex. I can tell you right now, this woman feels inferior to white people. She just does. All you have to do is listen to her, the way she talks about, that's the way they always feel. They always feel like they're better than us. The reality is that no, me as a white person, I'm not sitting around thinking, oh God, I'm definitely better than this black lady. No, nobody thinks like that because they're too busy living their life and doing a whole bunch of other stuff. And it's not really on their mind, but it's on her mind because it's her inferiority and her issue. And when you have an inferiority and you have an issue, you try to put it on everyone else. But the reality is that people take one look at this lady, and if she were sweet as can be, if she were sweet as pie, if she were a nice person, if she were a good person, no one would give a shit. They'd be like, oh, this lady's really nice. But no, not only is she unattractive, but her personality is unattractive, and what's inside her is unattractive. And that oozes out in this way, where she starts talking in this racist manner against white people because her inferiority complex cannot be contained within her. She can't keep it in. She wants to vent out that hatred against white people. And so she goes, all them, all y'all, like, this hatred of white people is ever present right there in everything that she's saying. All you have to do is listen.
For a while, I believe 3 things.
Oh, God. I believe 3 things. What are they? Let's hear them. Number 1.
A leopard.
To crush your enemies, to see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of the women.
Or can't change its spots.
So she's against trans people? Huh? See, this is the kind of stupid logic. See, people like this, they love to say this. Yeah, caught? Yeah, oh, wow, there we go.
The North will always remember. And if
the North will always remember. Are you talking about the Civil War? The Civil...
Walks like a duck, talks like a duck. It's spots. The North will always remember. And if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it's more than likely itself. And
you mean it's more than likely a duck?
No better example than American Eagle, right? Because I was a teen in the early 2000s, and I remember places like American Eagle, Aeropostale, Abercrombie and Fitch. Yes, Abercrombie and Fitch was the worst out of all of the...
See, you know exactly what it is. You grew up fat, you were out of shape, you had body image problems, and you didn't like the fact that clothing companies put people with aspirational bodies and appearances on those ads. And so now you've tried to make it your life goal to go out and change the public narrative. And also, by the way, I want to say this is a very important thing about this. This is a completely self-serving behavior. They don't really care about this anyway. They don't give a shit about this. This is the same reason why the fat acceptance movement is 95% women. It's about psyoping people into thinking that the way that they live and the way that they look is attractive. They want everybody else's mind to change and to conform around them. So don't ever confuse yourself or trick yourself into thinking, oh, well, actually, they care about equal representation. No, they don't. She's being represented and you don't like it. That doesn't seem very equal at all.
Y2K brands when it came to like ostracizing people. But, Aeropostale and American Eagle were not too far off, okay? They still carried things like a 000. They weren't as inclusive.
What's a 000?
A 000 is an extremely small size. She's upset because they had sizes that were too small that this chick probably couldn't even fit her arm into.
I see. Okay. Right. Keep in mind. So look at what she's saying. She's saying that carrying a size is problematic. This is on her list of grievances. So these people don't want to be represented. They want to remove other people's representation. It's not enough for them that they have a 4X section. No, that's not enough. They have to actively remove people that are skinny and people who are thin, skinny erasure. Yeah, exactly. And this is my point, right? Is that simply having a size, because there are women that are thin. I know this. Look, I've seen them on the internet, okay?
Yeah, there are a lot of women that are thin. And you know what's crazy? The irony of all this, well, not really this, but VTubers, a lot of them, you would think that they would be like fat men using VTubers to trick other men. No, a lot of the VTubers, they're actually pretty damn attractive. Like, I'll just give you one example. Kason. Kason's pretty damn hot. I don't think there's any question about that. But a lot of these other VTubers as well, when they do like meetups and signups, you'd think they'd be like hogs, but no, they're like really attractive. Makes you wonder, why the hell are you using an avatar? Probably because it's more fun to use a VTuber avatar as opposed to, being a flesh tuber.
I'm not sure, right?
What? Thought they were teasing Renee Rapp, and that this was going to be this big campaign.
Who's Renee Rapp?
Promote more inclusivity, but jokes on them.
How is it inclusivity when they don't promote a group of people? Like, I don't understand how inclusivity is promoting the same groups of people. It doesn't. This doesn't really seem like it's inclusivity.
It's like when that one media company talked about diversity, and it was just a group of black people. Yeah, because diversity doesn't mean diversity. It means hegemony. Inclusivity means inclusivity of all the people that agree with me.
It seems like it's...
It was Sydney Sweeney.
The words we use are never unintentional, and so for American Eagle to say that Sydney Sweeney has good genes...
If they're so unintentional, then why'd you say If there's never words that you use that are unintentional, why are you using verbal pauses? Did you mean to use the verbal pause? No, of course you didn't. You'd never use a verbal pause if you could help it. It's just, again, it's so stupid.
This lady looks like a snake. She got that bald head thinking, oh, I'm going to be like one of the warriors from Wakanda. You look like a snake.
Is not an accident.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh, she's not bald. She's just got that absolutely nappy cornrow hair. I don't know if there's cornrows or what she's doing with that hair, but man. Oh God. What a disaster. Yeah, if my hair looked that bad, I would be jealous of other people too. Sydney Sweeney has pretty nice hair. I think we should all agree on that.
Certain models are blue.
I bet they probably have the same skin color as she does. Because of their genes.
Yeah, he's talking about her
mother from your father. There's an ad that was grabbed from the internet that said why Sydney Sweeney has good genes. It talks about her, how genes are passed down throughout time. From your mother, from your father. And you get your genes.
That's true, by the way. That's by the way, I don't know if you know this, but I bet her parents probably have the same. I bet they're also black. I bet they probably have the same skin color.
So, I'm just going to be perfectly honest, because I honestly don't give a shit. The reason why black people like her are so absolutely crippled by the topic of genes, it's IQ. There is a huge reluctance and an inability to accept the biological reality, because that means I'm not in total control over my life. I can't change anything I want at any given moment. There are certain biological determining factors. That's something that you're not allowed to say. That is very, very problematic for a lot of people to hear. That you do have genetics, and they are the building blocks of your life that were built by your mother and your father and your family going back before that. Your IQ, all this stuff is determined by that. And it's unchangeable. And that's why it's so taboo. That's why it's such an issue. And you're not allowed to even approach it or broach it in any way. But I just did because I don't give a shit. But you know that I'm right. Whether you want to admit that I'm right or not, doesn't matter. I'm right. On this topic, there are people like this that want to make genetics a dirty word because they have, again, that inferiority complex that's built solely from themselves. It's their own personal issues that they're trying to export to other people. And I gotta tell you, I've got enough shit to deal with. I'm not gonna take on your baggage. I'm just gonna explain it to my audience about what she's trying to do in the hopes that they don't take that baggage on either. You get to carry your own bags and deal with your own problems, your own inferiority complex, your own insecurities. You get to deal with that, not put it on anyone else. It was an ad that was created because she's super attractive and they wanted to sell jeans. It was a very clever ad.
Or as she does. Because of their genes. I bet I've got a pretty high probability of that one, huh?
Parents.
Yeah.
Her genes are blue. She wanted us all to know her genes are blue.
Yeah.
And this is not a far cry to say.
I wonder if they did a thing on her jeans being blue because the jeans that she's selling are blue jeans.
That it is the amping up of eugenics in this country.
I think that's
a bingo. I told you the inferiority complex, the insecurities, they cannot help themselves. It's like a fat kid going into a candy store. Gotta mention eugenics. Now, were they actually promoting eugenics? No. But again, it's this person's own inferiority complex rearing its head, and instead of this person going to therapy, they've been gassed up and affirmed on this bullshit for years and years and years, I would wager. And now it just explodes out of her in this vitriolic way where she's doing a video. I don't know what she's making here. I mean, it doesn't look very good, but whatever she's making, doing it in this sort of passive-aggressive way, just casually talking about eugenics. It's so pathetic. It's so transparent. And I hope that now everyone can see it.
far cry. I think that's absolutely a far cry to say.
It is the ramping up of...
Yeah, I think it is. It's a bit of a far cry.
Choosing certain models.
Yeah. Attractive people. People want to... Because nobody wants to look like you. And they want to imagine themselves looking attractive. Stand the apparel.
It's getting annoying.
Wait. Attractive women appeal to incels? Okay.
She just did an ad with American Eagle, which is a clothing company basically known for their jeans. It kind of starts with her zipping up her clothes and the camera moving up her body. It is Sydney Sweeney. She's very attractive. And she's narrating. Jeans are important. They discover things like skin color, eye color, and hair color.
Yeah.
Odd. The camera makes it up to her face.
Odd? One time is a coincidence. We're at 3 now. Are we at 3 or are we at 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. We're at 4. We're about to reach 5. Once is a coincidence. We're at 4 now. 4 people, all black, the same inferiority complex, the same thing on their brain. Thinking about eugenics, thinking about genetics, and just cripplingly retarded on this topic. I tell you what, you don't have to like what I'm saying, but you know damn sure that I'm right. That it is their own personal issue their own inferiority complex that they're trying to export on other people. And they're trying to take an innocuous ad that has an attractive woman that's trying to sell jeans and turn it into something that it was never intended to be.
True.
And she says, "My jeans are blue," as the camera zooms in on her blonde hair and blue eyes. Not to sound like a lib here or anything, but like, if you watch the commercial, it does kind of feel like their Third Reich posting.
So first and foremost,
this is the reason why I say that, like, this is the reason why I keep saying that you're going to have, like, a rise of, like, you know, basically another Adolf, like, Nazi thing. It's because they call everything that. Everything is like Nazis. Everything is Hitler. Like, if everything is Hitler and everything is Nazis, whenever you have people that are actually Hitler and actually Nazis, people are going to be so fatigued from listening to...
No. Asman, I think that you are absolutely wrong. I don't think it's going to be a thing of, oh, well, you've called everyone Nazis, and so when the real Nazis come... No, I think it's going to be much worse than you're thinking. I think people have been watching this sort of blacktivism, this sort of thing where black people can be proud of their race, can be, you know, wear shirts that say very proud, black and proud, Wakanda forever, all that sort of stuff. But when you see a blonde woman who is beautiful, blue eyes, pale skin, just gorgeous, and this is the sort of visceral reaction, I think that what you're going to get is people who are not bamboozled or confused, but seek out somebody who's going to crush these people in a way that is not going to be a benefit to anyone. It is going to be purely for catharsis. It is going to be purely for catharsis, and it's going to make what happened in the past look like a nice, sunny, you know, field of flowers. Because as we continue on into the future, the attachments to the past, you notice that they're getting weaker and weaker. There are people today that don't really have an understanding about things that happened, you know, World War II and stuff like that. We're reaching a point where people are going to stop giving a shit about slavery. They're going to stop giving a shit about Jim Crow. And I think we're at that point. So all of this bad behavior, this animosity, this hatred towards whites that has been building for years and has been vented into society, whether it be through the Summer of Love, the riots, people being killed, things burnt down, the open white bigotry, you know, black people acting like animals and just punching random people in the head, whether they're Asians, you know, grandmas. The type of video that you don't see from nearly any other race, and if you do, it's very rare, but from black people, it's like every other day. That type of stuff is going to have an effect that is going to be... I do not want what's going to happen in the future. I'm just telling you what's going to happen. There's going to be a rebound. And it's going to be that a lot of people, you know, you look at Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes, I think, is the perfect example of this. Whether you like him or not, he represents a lot of really young people. A lot of really, really, really young people. And what is their number one topic? Well, Israel. They don't want the U.S. to support Israel. They don't think that Israel is a good guy. What is the second one? Well, it's about race. I don't think that there's anything that the American boomertocracy can do about what's coming next. And there doesn't seem to be anyone that's trying to stop this or help this. It seems like at every opportunity, people are just letting it happen. Sort of like a train that's about to run off the tracks. Except for it's not, you know, it's not a track. People are building a brick fucking wall. And when that train hits the brick wall, it's going to be a catastrophe. And nobody wants that. It's not going to be good for America what happens. I'm just telling you, this sort of resentment on both sides, it has never worked out well in the past. And by the way, if you think, let me just be clear, because I know that some people say, oh, black people will win that. No. You absolutely will not. You absolutely will not. And if you think that the government or the media is going to protect you, it's going to be something like we haven't seen before, because the media goes where the money is. The media goes where the clicks are, and they have supported these sort of causes in the past because they thought it was the most opportunity for them. But I think in the very near future, as more and more of these shows go under, as more and more of these networks close down, I'm telling you, something is brewing and it's not going to be good. And that's why I wanted to do this video, is because this sort of hatred and bitterness from these people, it cannot be allowed to continue in this country. So I think that one of the things that you could do is get those goddamn insane asylums up and start putting people in there. For the good of the country, good God. Anyway, if you want to go watch the rest of the video, I definitely recommend it. There are a bunch more people that are complaining, whining, whinging, moaning. This lady here, who's a white woman with blonde hair and blue eyes, who apparently has depression, who, oh, this ad broke me out of my depression, I'm going to come complain about it on the internet. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this one was particularly hilarious. But I wanted to do this video because I see a problem on the horizon. I don't want it to happen. I hope that it stops, but I don't think that it can. I don't think that one person is enough to stop this. And so it's something to pray over, that this simmers down and that whatever force is ramping this up just sort of stops. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for supporting the channel, and I'll see you next time.